Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Happy Halloween for those that are watching the video today. So I have a 2010 Ford Mustang Shelby. This is actually a computer that was here almost 8 months ago for another reason. Now is here for what the technician described as backfeeding power from the O2 sensors over to the AC clutch and purge valve and some other things. So we're going to try to reproduce the concern, or at least see what part is actually failing, and see if we can repair the computer, send it back. This is a very expensive computer. Even used, these computers are almost $10,000, which is outrageous. But yeah, whoever has it now knows that it's no longer available, and those are very high-end vehicles, and they take advantage of that. But I mean, it's the nature of the beast, right? All right, so as I normally do, I have everything ready here. Let me move this slide a little bit. Yeah, this is on the way, so give me 1 second. All right, that's a better look now. As you see, I have the purge valve, the original purge valve for this vehicle connected. And please, if you're watching these on solo motors, make sure that your valve that you have connected in the purge valve is the original one. The 4F550 will fit the connections and everything. The bracket is actually in the opposite way, so that will give you a hint. But the connector and the lines are the same. And it's completely separate valve. It actually draws a lot more amperage, and that can damage your computer. And that will create the solenoid to jump, close, and open. And we will see that if that is the case and has already damaged the driver. And that is something that it happens a lot of time, because that valve is a lot less expensive. And some people, oh yeah, it looks the same, it's got to be the same. It's not. All right, so, but I don't suspect that's the case, but I'm just putting this out there because I want always to guide the technicians in the right way. I have created a folder for him, for this company, about this vehicle, and I have the diagrams ready to go here. Let me just show you what I have gathered. These are the O2 sensors. The part that we will be using, and I want to show you, is the connections to the heater circuits. So we have sensor 1, 2, and 2, 2 connected into the connector C175T. Ford named this connector all C175, and then it's just the last letter that changes. So we have T, B, and E. T and B are 50 pins. E is a 70 pin connector, and you will be able to see that in the vehicle. B, connector B, stands for like a battery, and that has all the powers and grounds and communications. E for engine, and T for transmission. Engine obviously has a lot of the sensors on the vehicle, but as you see here, you will see it shortly, there is some on the T connector, so they just put those as they please in there. All right, so the heater circuit for the sensor 1, 2 is in pin 47. The heater circuit, you will see, it has like a square wave, sine wave here. And you will notice, because this will have power on one end, and then the computer will ground, pulse width modulated the ground to turn that heater on as the computer needs it. So we have one in pin 47 in connector T, and the other one in connector, in pin 48 on the same connector for the O2 sensor 2, 2. The other sensors 1, 1 and 2, 1, which is the upstream O2s, are in the connector E and pin 69 and pin 70. So those are the O2 sensors, and I have them connected like that. This is the connector, the way it looks. As you see, this is connector C175E with 70 pins. And this is the evap purge valve, which we're going to do a test in here. And I want to show you the evap. They call this one vapor management valve, which is very confusing, because you go over for the faults and it says purge valve not working, but then you go over to the scanner and it says vapor management. That's the same valve. So it's connected into pin 6 in connector E, and will provide the ground for the solenoid. When you see a coil with those two lines on the top, that's a solenoid symbol. And then the other side is coming from fuse 49 in the battery junction box. So we can see that the computer is definitely provided in the ground, right? So that's pretty easy, pretty simple as far as the wire diagram goes. Again, I have marked connector E, connector B, and connector T. B is always on the center on this computer. All right, so I am going to put the scanner, which I'm using my trustworthy Phoenix Max. I'm very happy with this scanner. I'm already into ID in the vehicle, and this communications is very fast. It's a CAN bus communication. So everything went through perfectly, and I'm now on the output tests. I go into special functions, output tests, and then there I select the pits that I need, which in this case are evap, vapor management off, vapor management valve amperage. And then if it's a fault or not, which we can see immediately, it's already telling us that we have a fault in there. And that is the correct valve. So I know that we already have a problem in this computer. So let's do an activation. Okay, you see it says no error, no error. And I'm seeing also if we're checking the outputs, it's also activating. The other light that you see there, or the one light that was blinking, is the AC clutch. This valve should stay with no error. So the computer is not liking what is saying on the valve and is leaving it with the error. You see no error, no error. And at the end, when it's not commanding it, it's finishing with the error. So this should give us a P04, what is it, P0430? I mean, yes, I'm pretty sure that's what it is. We can command it off. Right now it's in the off state of this. We'll see it in the faults shortly. But we can see that it's ending with an error. So when I turn it on, it should be with no error. It doesn't matter if it's being commanded on and off. And it should end when you turn it off with no error. By having an error, it's telling me it's not liking the output. But I can hear the valve. And the reason I've connected, as you see right now here, I have 2 test lights for the downstream O2s and 2 for the upstreams, and then another test light on the AC clutch. When I had these test lights, since I don't have the O2 sensors originally here, they're a bit expensive for this car. I will get a fault for the resistance out of range, but the activation should be okay. So let's get out of here. I'm going to go back into the data list. So let's read the full data. I'm going to do, well, let's retrieve the command, constant memory DTCs. That's what CMDTC means. And see what we have here. Okay, the P0443. We can see immediately we have that fault in here. So that is definitely a circuit malfunction. When you have that, it's already a damage in the computer. No doubt about it, because, I mean, it's not just the P0443, it's the FF. That tells you that it's a driver issue in the computer, especially that I have, and I know that that is the correct valve and everything. So we're going into something that is already telling us that we have a problem in the purge valve system. And when that valve cycles like that, it can create a backfeeding because it's too many times cycling when it's supposed to be on, right? So that could be the case. All right, so let's do a key on engine off self test. This will turn all the heaters. Okay, those are the heaters. Now it will turn the AC on and the purge valve on and flicker. So the O2s are looking good. I like the way those activations look. You see when it's on and flickers, that tells me that the drivers are on. They should have done a last pass and they didn't. So we might have an issue with the whole drivers, but let's see. Okay, we have the P0053 heater resistant beyond limits, and that is what I was expecting to see when we have a test that passed, actually. Because if I would have an O2 heater, like as you know, like a P0, I think it's 111. I'm so bad with this. Let me find it and I'll be right back. I'm just going to read the numbers. It says like a P0130 is a O2 sensor circuit out of range and bank sensor 1. Then P0131, that will be for, well, also low voltage. So we have multiple sensors. We got P0132, O2 sensor circuit voltage, band 1 sensor 1, highs. So those are sensor circuits. That is definitely an O2 sensor problem. That could potentially be the computer, right? So especially if you already have a good O2 sensor and you still get those fault codes. But if you do the self-test like I did here, and then the ones you got are resistance out of range, it's because it passed the test of activation, the driver is fine, but it's not liking the resistance on the sensor. So it could be a wiring issue, it could be a sensor problem, but the actual driver and everything did pass the test. So the others fault codes that we can get is P0 133 low response, 134 no activity, 135 heater circuit. Again, that's before, right? Like if the computer goes and try to activate the auto sensor and it doesn't see any activity, okay, well, we have a problem on the auto sensor circuit, and I can prove that if I remove these test lights. Let me just see which one is 1 and 1. So those are the most or the faster to get the sensor faults. So 1 is this one's in here. So I'm going to disconnect. Yes, you can see me there. I'm going to unplug one. Actually, let me just not do it here because it's easier for me to do it on the other side. Let me just follow either one, right? So these two here. Let me plug them here. I'm going to. All right, I unplugged both of the app streams on 1.1, right? 1.1 and 2.1. And let's repeat the test so you can see that what I'm saying about the fault codes is correct. So right now we have an open circuit, no sensors connected. And let's see what fault code we will get. So we will clear the fault codes. And you see that these two came on one time. They're not well doing the flickering because now we have an incomplete auto sensor test. So the computer will not fail the downstreams because they came on. But since the upstreams, which are the main players, are not there, it will set up a fault and we'll stop the test right there for that. All right, so we cleared that. This is going to actually do the test after now here. You see it activates it. It's now doing the self-test. We can see the AC clutch and I can hear the PCV valve come on. Let's wait for the test to finish. All right, now let's see what faults we get now. So we're going to scroll down. Okay, and look at this right there. P0135. What was I saying? Exactly this. P0135, the auto sensor is open. The computer is like, okay, I cannot continue the test. Why? Because there's nothing connected, or at least I cannot see anything connected. Well, in this case, it's correct. Why? Because I unplugged the sensors, right? So that is only the logic and the driver circuit for the auto sensors, at least, is fine. And we can see the next one. Look at right here, P0155. That's for the auto sensor heater circuit on 2.1. So 2.1 and 1.1, exactly the sensors that I just unplugged. So why is setting up a fault for the purge valve? Because we have a problem. Let's see if the P0443 is still here or not. Okay, we haven't erased that right here. P0443 is still there. So we definitely have a problem on the purge valve system, but I'm leaning out of the O2 sensors being the issue. I'm not sure exactly what tests they did. I might actually call the shop, but today's Saturday. I'm not sure if they work today or not. And I might not have the window to call them, but looking into my tests, so what I'm going to do now is replug this into power, right? Into ignition. And now we're going to see how the P035 and P05155 will disappear. So we're going to clear those fault codes. And now you see the test lights flickering. Let me put those up in here so you can see it better. All right, so we clear the fault codes, and now you're going to see how after I click OK and it goes into the test, it's not just going to flicker one time. The sensor is going to flicker, and then it's going to flicker on, and then let the rest of the self-test finish. See all the 4 of the sensors, and now it's going to activate them again. You see? Now now I can hear the whole test being done. All right, so let's see what fault codes we have here. Well, it is. Am I going to have to erase the phone because P0135 is still in here. And I unplug a P0135, P0155, P0 auto sensor heater. Let me clear the DTCs because I have seen this on this scanner when I have to actually clear the full memory. To make me a liar, right? Well, at least if we can reproduce a test. Let's do it one more time. I might have to cycle the key, and this is not abnormal. You know, when you're doing an erase, most of the vehicles ask you to cycle the key. I'm not sure why Ford that doesn't, but we'll see how that goes in now. And still we get in the P035. Let's see, make sure the ID connected in, and it is. I saw the test light coming on, but we are definitely getting now faults for the P0155 and P0135. So, what the sensor heater circuit fault? 2.2. Well, the 2.2 is, oh, that's actually weird too. So we have now heater circuit issues for all of them. It might be reacting now. Let me clear the fault codes. Time. And I'm going to cycle the key. You can see how that flickers when I cycle the ignition back on. And let's retrieve the constant memory to see what we have here. You sure want to exit? No, I don't want to exit. And not even see the purge valve no more here. So I did erase all the faults. So let's go back into the self-test. Remember before the constant memory, the purge valve was there. See, that is actually doing the test correctly. Let me see. Did it flicker? I didn't see it flicker. But you see, right now we're getting different fault codes. So it does need to cycle the key. P00553, P0059. Let's see if we get the purge valve still here or not. Yeah, we got in the P0443. So you see what I mean? It's definitely passing the O2 sensor. So let's clear the DTCs one more time. And this is, where, disconnecting components and connecting it back, you have to cycle the key. That's very important. And that proves it as well, because it was giving me a whole lot of autofill codes. That's just because I disconnect the main players, right? So that is definitely important. Let me see this test again. Not sure exactly what it's doing. I missed the part of the test. See, right now it's actually doing P0135. So we might have a problem here. Let me clear the DTCs. So it looks like it's actually reacting now. Yeah, I don't see any activations now. See, no activations. So we definitely have a problem. Houston, we have a problem. But that's exactly what we're here. So let me exit here, and I'm going to do it from the outside, because I don't see nothing coming on now. You see, nothing came on. No auto sensor activation. I didn't see the AC clutch or neither the purge valve. So this is exactly their concerns. So we're definitely now being able to reproduce a concern. So remember I was saying I was going to lean into the purge valve. Now I'm not. And this is what I do, guys. Some people don't understand that what I'm showing you here, it has so much value because I don't just go and remove components and send you the computer back and good luck with that. Because technicians and you, vehicle owner, you're not just looking for to spend the money on repairing a computer if it's not necessary. You want to make sure that it was that the problem. Yes, I already replaced all those components and I still got the problem, but yes, I replaced the component and you send it back and now it's doing the same. Did you repair anything? Is it still the computer? Now you still think, or you know, as a technician, as a vehicle owner, you're like, oh, you know, did this guy repair anything? That's what I'm trying to separate my business from anyone in the world because nobody offers this. I am reproducing the customer concern 100% in here. And then if I repair it, I will be able to redo this test. And now I know that I have to let it warm up for whatever time I've been talking to you guys. Let me see how long this video is. I have 20 minutes. Yeah, 20 minutes. So I need it to warm up. So let's do one test again. I'm going to go over and get out of here. I'm going to clear the fault codes. And I'm going to cycle the key. I usually wait 10, 15 seconds. And then I cycle it again. See if we have any activations on the O2. Nothing. You saw before when I did that turn it on, they came on. Now they're not even coming on. So this is definitely a problem in the computer. Now I at least can check that. I'm going to definitely start with the normal repairs and let's see what we find. But now I'm able to reproduce the concerns. We have definitely no activation. Everything is still connected the same way. We have communication, no doubt about it. And now we have a fail. All right, guys, let me open the computer. If you want to see more of the internal, because I went through the entire board because this computer was repaired by someone else, and I'm very hesitant to, you know, do that ever again because I put myself in the fire for what those guys did after I touched the computer. And now I'm the sole responsible. It's not the case in here because I explained, you know, it's like, this is not what I repaired. This is a separate charge. And I'm sorry, but it's just the way it is. But I'm definitely here to help the customers. And they know that I can help them. If it's something that I can repair, it will be repairable. Why? Because this computer was deemed as not repairable. And it's been running perfectly for almost 8 months, seven months or so. So you can see that it was repaired, but something else is in there. And this is the problem when somebody else was, you know, messing with everything around. And it's as much as I can see by, you know, an eye and using microscopes. But even, I think the only way that you will be able to see completely is with an X-ray machine. It costs $500,000. And then inspect the entire board for, you know, broken solders or pads. And I'm actually really thinking of getting one because my business is growing exponentially, and I want to give the best service to the customers, but it's still not there for me to spend that kind of money on something like this. But yeah, that will be probably the only way, but obviously that will increase also the charge into a component that I'm repairing, especially when it comes from somebody else. If it's an untouched original computer, then I can see that I will just focus into the normal repairs. But if it's something like this one, that is a very expensive component and it has been, you know, abused by another repair facility, then that will be something different. All right, guys, let me open the computer and I'll be right back. All right, guys, just to give you a short update and you can see how this looks. All right, let me get this light out of here. It gets very bright with that there. So I have the computer in my bracket. It makes it very nice to hold and to work on it. I don't need to use the heater because this board was removed by the other company. I usually don't remove because it's a high risk to break the board when you do that. Even though I have all the tools to do it, I try to stop myself unless it's necessary. But when I do something like that, I told the customer, look, it's a 50-50 chance that computer will not survive. Are you okay with that? Because it's your decision. If you tell me not, then I send it back and good luck. But otherwise, if you allow me and if it's good, then we will have a repair. If it damage the board, it's garbage. And I'm very transparent with my customers and with everybody as far as that. So, but in the case when the board has already been removed, I don't really need to, work with the case install and use the heater to expand, and spread the heat a lot faster. In this, I can use a cup and work very precise with my heater into that spot where I'm going to be replacing the components, and I don't have to really use the heater for that. So the hot air station, I will just blow air around surrounding the area, so the board will, because the board will absorb the temperature really quickly. So and I can do that because you don't want just to work in there, because otherwise it will take forever. So you want to warm up the board, and then you can do that very, very easily. All right, guys, just to give you a short update, and you can see the numbers are still, and the letters, everything as it was in here. So let me keep going. Be right back. Hopefully we can make this happen, because again, this is a very expensive computer. All right, guys, I finished the repairs. Pretty, normal repair for me. I'm just a little always worried about a computer that was touched by somebody else, but let's hope that everything is solved and we can see. And I'm going to do the complete connection, so you and them can see that this is indeed their computer, even though they know with the numbers and everything you see there that's actually their computer. But let me start from scratch. Like I said, let me put the Phoenix Max on the screen, and I'm going to establish communication. The computer is on. I want to show you something. Yeah, you can see it from there. Let me cycle the ignition 1 second. Let me move you over here so it's better for you to see. I'm going to turn the ignition back on. And we can see that is already a clue that it is working, because at the end of the test, when I was finishing and I tried after I even stopped the video, it was completely dead, no more. And definitely, I removed the components that were failing 100%. So this is definitely a good hint that everything is now working properly. So I think probably this is the best view, right? All right, let's do an auto scan. I haven't even pulled the V number from there. The digits should last, the last digit should be 113974. 113974. You can see it's a 2010 Ford Mustang. This is a Shelby GT 5.4 liters. All right, we're going to do a quick access. We're going to go into, first, I'm going to do the test on the EVAP, which remember was failing. Error, no error, error, no error. For you, might be just a few minutes. For me, it's been, a couple of hours. So let's revisit that. And either way, that's the normal procedure that I start always on these tests. And now that you're seeing how I do it, this is very unique. Top-down is the only scanner that can do this bidirectional test, by the way, correctly. So we're going to enter the PCM. I really like the top-down. For me, is a very strong tool. So if you're looking for a tool that you service a lot of domestic Asians and diesel, this is a really good tool. They have actually heavy duty that you can have in a Phoenix Max. It's a really, really good tool. All right, we're going to go into actuation tests. And here we're going to go into output test mode. Just click on OK on all those pop-ups. And I like to add data stream, the one that you saw before, which is for the EVAP management control valve. So I'm going to scroll quickly through that. Make sure I don't pass it. Okay. Vapor management, and vapor management. That's going to give me everything. All right. So immediately look at that. Without doing anything, look at the last line. What it says? No error. Before we got that error. So this is already telling me we're good. We're definitely good. All right, let's turn it on. And you can see that now the valve is on, and this is staying on. Before it was cycling. Remember, cycling. That was not right. Something was wrong, definitely internally in the computer. So Solo Motors, again, another great diagnostics. Cheers on your tech, because whoever is working on this car, it knows exactly what it's doing. Because At first, I was not able to reproduce. I'm like, yeah, I don't see that, backfeeding into the O2 sensors, but lately it happens. So, yeah, when you cannot reproduce, all I can see is what I can see, right? But when I was able to narrow it down to that, kudos to that tech. Again, you are an amazing tech, and that is a really good shop. Solo Motors let me just see their location. They're from Atlanta, Georgia. So if you have a car that you have problems, find a shop. You will be in really good hands because they have, spotted to the point. Every single time I'm doing a repair for their computers, it is no doubt, it's exactly that. I always like to reproduce because I need to show that to you and to them so I can show you when it's fixed. Like in here, look, all this time, this is being on and no errors. So I'm going to turn them off. Is there any errors? Of course it's not. And I guarantee you now that P0443 is gone. Guarantee you 100%. So let's go over to fault codes. Well, let's say knock on wood, 100%. Let's do the key on self test. All right, we see the activations on those sensors. See, this wasn't doing that. Now it's doing the correct way. It was kind of. You see, this is the nice procedure. It's just, it's been a while since I did the last one, but now you can see how different from the one before. Yes, we had the P053 and P059. We know that is going to happen no matter what. But let's look for the P0443. No. You see, the 443 is gone. No longer we have a problem. Why? Because it's fixed. So this is, again, all has been corrected. Solo Motors, this is no doubt your computer is now, because remember, the P0443 was always there no matter what I did. The O2 sensors were coming at the end, and I had the real load. That's what I like, to buy the correct valves and everything to do the test. I know that I might get, a circuit resistance out of range. And this, for me, is actually very good to have the P0053 and 0059, because that corroborates and also gets me the result that I'm looking for. Like that, I know the logic on the computer, the output test was passing good, and everything is working fine. So guys, I had the computer connected before I talked to you for probably 20 minutes to warm it up. I didn't do any tests or nothing. I did see the flickering, and that's why I went to do the key cycle again when you were at the beginning of after the pause. Why? Because I didn't want to hold you 20 minutes in here to warm up the computer. Now, this computer is now fully repaired. Solo Motors, again, kudos to your technicians and to the shop. Thank you so much for trusting my Salazar Diagnostics. I forgot the customer's name, but if you're watching this video, you're no doubt in the best hands with them and with me. And I hope that you can see the big difference on my company and myself, the way that I show the before and after. So when they go and plug this computer, they will trust 100% that it's fixed. And if it's something that I need to correct, I will do it. But in this case, I know that what I'm doing in here is 100% proper. It's properly done, so nothing of this will fail. I have been burned one time, and it was with this same computer, where I test the coil drivers, and they were passing here with the simulator. I end up using the real loads, and I'm going to put the link of that video in the description of this one so you can watch it and see what I'm talking about. Where I end up needed to actually use real coils because I was giving them primary to secondary faults, and I did got those here, but I have always seen it because I thought it was, the low boxes that I use in the servo injectors and coils, and that was okay. With other computers, that's not the problem. With this computer was really keen, really picky on that. I used the correct coils, and I was able to reproduce their concern, do the repair, no longer a problem on that, and they were really happy. But this is a very high-end vehicle. All right, guys, thank you so much for visiting the channel. Please don't forget to subscribe. Every time you do that, YouTube promotes more and more videos, and at the end is how you really can help a small business like mine. Thank you so much. I'll see you next time. And please don't forget, tickle my bell right there, right? The alarm, tickle in there. You will be reminded every time one of my videos shows up. Thank you so much. See you next time. Bye-bye.